quick disclaimer before the video gets started. One, I do not own this. I don't own the story, so it will be linked in the description below. And I'm not very good at Halo 5, so I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hello there. I'm a horrible storyteller, but I swear this one is worth listening to. You can call me Sienna. What I'm about to tell you has been my little secret between me, myself, and I for a long time. And now I think I'm ready to tell the world about it. I just hope you're ready to listen to my little tale, if you will. Okay, let's start out with the fact that I've been peer pressured into trying the Halo game series. You can call me Miss, I live under a rock, but I've honestly never heard of Halo. And that made my friends go crazy on me. Commanding me to play at least one game or one match on multiplayer. Being the victim of this situation, I had no choice but to. I chose the newest game in the series, Halo 4. I went to try it out at my friend's house. Let's call him Kenneth. And after a while, I found myself really enjoying it. A lot. Playing Halo, it just felt right, like I was in a newfound natural element or something. It felt like I was born to play this game. After a couple of weeks of trying it at Kenneth's house, I decided to buy the game myself. I went to the game store and found myself buying the whole Halo series, but the crown jewel of them all was Halo 4. When I got home, I rushed downstairs to my abandoned video game room, which my brother has probably left his Xbox 360 there when he moved out last week, explaining its presence, and fired up Halo 4. I remember letting out a little squeal of excitement as the campaign started, and I customized my Spartan. Holding the controller in my hand, it had such a natural feel. When I played, it was like I was literally in the game itself. Minutes turned into hours, to half a day. It was Saturday. I didn't have to work. I played for so long. It was like I was addicted to Halo. Well, not addicted, but pretty close. I guess that's how all people are when they get some new things. I decided to take a snack break. Well, my stomach did. I realized I hadn't eaten since about 7 o'clock last night, and it was a light dinner. So as I went upstairs and went into the fridge, my cell phone began to ring. It was Kenneth, so naturally I picked it up. "So Sienna, how's it going with Halo 4? He asked, with a simple yawn. "You liking it so far?" I told him that it's great. I'm playing it on legendary difficulty and that I've already gotten really far in the campaign. He congratulated on me on my progress and told me to call him when I beat the game. After Kenneth had finished talking to me over the phone and hung up, I got an apple from the fridge and walked back downstairs to finish up a checkpoint in Halo's campaign. I noticed the door was locked, or at least hard to open. I fumbled around in the dark for a brief moment, and I realized that there was a blanket in between the heavy doors. I was slightly confused at the thought because I don't remember putting a blanket there. Well, nowadays I guess I don't remember anything, but I was still wary, as my gut told me that something bad was going to happen. And it was almost always right. Removing the blanket from that spot, I opened the door and froze. What I saw on the screen just made me do a reality check and question my sanity. It was a cinematic in third person of my Spartan, pinned up against a cavernous rock wall by an unknown creature, crying out in pain and fear. Halo 4's graphics were classified as hyper-realistic, and that just made the cinematic even more disturbing. She had a silvery, cold-looking liquid spattered on her helmet, and it was making her Mjolnir armor freeze up. It reminded me of a liquid nitrogen, but this seemed to be more powerful than that. A short moment had passed, and my Spartan seemed to notice me standing in front of the screen, my mouth wide open, my eyes bugged in shock. She was staring at me with teary eyes, pleading in utter desperation as if I could help her in this whole ordeal. I realized that Connect was on, and I wonder if this was an extra feature the game developers have put into the game, so it was a little more interactive, I guess. I didn't care about that, how I needed to help my Spartan. Grabbing the controller and mashing random buttons, I tried to help the poor Spartan out of this thing. Cold, painful embrace. Then she stopped struggling, craned her neck to look up at a figure I couldn't see, except for a distorted shadow that partly shaded her, and let out a loud, shrill, blood-curdling scream as the beast's claw, dripping with the frigid, quicksilver-like liquid, came down like all hell went loose, and nearly tore her face off. It ended as quickly as it started, and the screen went static, and finally, black as the whole system shut down, leaving me in the darkness of the video game room. I was shaken, more like terrified out of my very wits. After I semi-collected my composure and turned on the lights, I began to rethink this ordeal. Was my Spartan truly in pain? Trapped in an endless hell because of me? And what in the world was that thing? The shadow may have been distorted, but I remember that it portrayed the beast to be very tall and take on a humanoid form, much like a giant Spartan, but with massive claws for hands. I slowly reached for my phone and tried to call Kenneth, but he never picked up. He must be asleep, I assured myself. Besides, it was 3 a.m. Why would he be awake? I took that as my cue to go to bed. It was really late and obviously I needed some rest and a break from video games. As I laid in bed, unable to sleep, the cinematic of my Spartan being mauled and frozen by something was repeating itself over and over again in my mind, her screams playing like a broken record. The alarm said 7 o'clock and I exploded out of bed. I thought I had work today and it starts in 30 minutes. When I checked my phone for anything new, I noticed that it was Sunday. I thought face palming. I calmed down, got myself something to eat, and listened to the radio. When I went back to my room for a little while, noticed something eerily unusual about it. I could have sworn I left my Xbox controller downstairs in the video game room, but there it was on my nightstand table, throwing away my Apple Core. I warily walked to my nightstand and picked up the controller. It seemed completely normal, and I hadn't noticed it there before now, so I just assumed that I left it there last night, involuntary holding it in my tired stupor. I picked the controller up and returned it to the rightful place, inside a drawer in the video game room. As I left the room, I felt something pull me back, not a physical force, but instinctual, emotional force, like leaving a wounded animal to fend for itself. I just couldn't leave the controller for some odd reason. Walking back to the drawer, picked the controller up, heard a faint, repetitive sound coming from upstairs, most likely the kitchen. Creeped out, I semi-jogged toward the source with the sound with the controller in my hand, and realized it was my phone ringing. I had recently changed my ringtone, so that's why I wasn't all familiar with the sound, but who would be calling me on a Sunday? And everyone was either doing homework or watching football. I let out a sigh of relief when it was Kenneth. Hello? I answered. Hey Sienna, Kenneth said, a twinge of boredom in his voice. Do you have anything going on today? I'm bored. I don't have work today, and I've just finished up my homework. Want to hang out today? He added on. Of course I wanted to hang out with him. Kenneth's been my best friend ever since we met in the 5th grade orchestra. We still play our instruments, and we've become really good at them. I'm a cellist, and Kenneth plays the upright bass. Yeah, sure, come on over. I responded with excitement, and I had nothing else to do that day other than play Halo. Wait! I froze, remembering all the things that had happened the night before I could respond. Kenneth had already hung up. Knowing Kenneth, he would show up on his bike any minute now. I tried to forget about the whole shebang and fired up the Xbox downstairs. Like I predicted, the doorbell rang, announcing Kenneth's arrival. He let himself in and greeted me with a, "What's up, sister from another mister?" as he threw off his shoes and plopped down on the nearest piece of furniture in my house. Typical Kenneth. I sighed and gave a faint smile. As he was finished with all this formalities, Kenneth walked toward me, standing in the kitchen, and saw the Xbox controller in my hand. Dude, were you just playing video games, he asked me. No, I was just getting my controller. Anticipating you. Yeah. I tried to hide my fear of walking downstairs to the video game room and having that whole scenario from last night happen again, but this time Kenneth was there. He looked at me suspiciously and seemed to shrug it off. We supported each other, and we were each other's rocks. I couldn't live without him, and I knew he felt the same. It was like I could tell him anything, so that eased my growing anxiety. He walked downstairs and my heart began to pound. It was beating at a normal rate. It was just powerful, like someone banging a hammer and steady beat inside my chest. Come on, Sienna, don't be a wuss. You've been down there countless times. Now turn on the lights and play Halo with Kenneth. Besides, the whole thing from last night was probably just a dream. Calm down. My mind urged on. Before I reached the light switch, Kenneth had already forgotten it into the basement. Corridor lit up with a warm tone, making me feel calmish. As we walked to the video game room, we started to chat about old times, the college orchestra, and just about anything that crossed our minds.